Good morning, fellow primates. I'm John Gonzalez. Thank you for joining me today. So you're going to London, eh? Probably for the first time? Well, today I will give you some travel tips which I hope will help you better enjoy your first trip to the United Kingdom. This video is part one of a two-part series of London travel tips. This episode I will talk about practical tips and part two will be a visual walkthrough. So let's get to it. Number one, packing. Be prepared for rain and chilly weather whenever you're in the United Kingdom, just in case, pretty much year-round. Bring those umbrellas and light windbreakers so that you are prepared and you won't have to buy it when you're there. Plugs. You will not need voltage adapters for electronic devices such as your phones and laptops, but you will need a plug adapter. They look like this, they cost about $10 to $20, and the way it works is you just plug in your device in here, and then you match the plug to the other appliances and electronics in your hotel room. That's how you know what the plug looks like. I travel with two at all times, along with 3 extension cables, because I have a lot of electronic devices like camera battery chargers and things of that nature. In the future, I will make a separate packing video because packing in itself is a very long and complicated subject. Number two, passport. You do not need a visa to enter the United Kingdom as a US citizen, but you do need a passport even if you're coming from mainland Europe. Number three, language. Obviously they speak English in England, but they will better understand you than you will probably understand them. Having grown up with a diet of American TV shows, your accent is something that they hear a lot in the United Kingdom, but you may not be used to hearing the way they speak. So, be prepared for the fact that not everyone you will meet in the UK will sound like Emma Watson or Kate Winslet or Zoella. Number four is money. Be aware that they do not use euros in the United Kingdom. They use British pounds that look like this. You can see the Queen's face on it right there. When calculating prices, because currency rates fluctuate from day to day, I basically just double the cost of everything I see. So if you see something that is worth, say, 10 British pounds, in my head, that's 20 US dollars, and so on. Just double the price of everything. That's a good rule of thumb that I use when I'm in the United Kingdom. Also beware, credit cards. In the EU and the United Kingdom, they use an embedded card chip system that we don't use in the United States. You specifically will probably have to get a travel credit card to get one of these, preferably with a no foreign transaction fee, so you'll do minimal damage to your bank account when you change money. But they do not use the bar swipe system in Europe, so that can cause you some problems. So let your bank know ahead of time that you're going to be in Europe, so you want to set up a notification, and be aware that American Express cards and Discover cards are usually not accepted in places that I've been throughout Europe and the United Kingdom, so be prepared for that. Lastly, with regard to budget, I would budget at least 60 British pounds per person per day while you're there. That is not counting hotel costs and airfare, of course. I'm just talking about shopping, food, admission fees, things of that nature, your daily expenses. 60 British pounds per person per day. Number five is time. Be aware that they use military time in Europe, the United Kingdom, and well, the rest of the world. Only the United States really uses the AM/PM system. If you don't know the way it works, 1200 hours is 12 p.m., 1300 hours is 1 p.m., 1400 hours is 2 p.m., and so on, with 0 hours being midnight. This is important because train schedules, show times, those will all probably be listed in military time, so it is good to learn it. Most sites are open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So wake up early to get ahead of the crowds, which are usually thickest at midday. That gives you about 8 hours of sightseeing time, which goes very quickly. So know your sightseeing priorities ahead of time, so you don't waste any time sitting in a cafe, looking at a map, deciding what should we see next. Number six is safety. Whenever I travel anywhere in the world, I always wear a money belt. The way this works is, this is a pouch that you place your passport, cash, credit card, return plane ticket home inside here, and it goes inside your trousers, between your shirt and your trousers inside. That way, it pretty much defeats all pickpocketing attempts to rob you. Because if anyone's grabbing around near your groin area, you will certainly feel that. That way also, by carrying those critical documents with you, in case there's ever a revolution or a coup or a natural disaster, you won't have to go running back to your hotel to grab these things. You can just go straight to the airport and leave the country. So this thing is great. It only costs about $10 to $20 and you can get it at any travel store. Due to strict gun laws in the United Kingdom, the last thing you probably have to worry about is getting shot. But you can still get mugged at knife point, so in general, the United Kingdom to me is slightly safer than any major US city. So you still need to exercise caution when you're walking around at night. And with regard to traffic, guys, please look both ways. Don't just look left, then right, then cross the street. In the United Kingdom, they drive on the left side of the road. So you need to look right and then left, preferably in that order, before you cross the street. This has been such a problem with tourists getting hurt. They've actually had to write look left, look right signs at crosswalks because people were getting creamed by cars, and I don't want that to happen to you. Number 7 is restrooms. First of all, don't call it a restroom. They don't know what that is. Ask for the toilet or the loo or the WC. Restroom, when you think about it, doesn't really make any sense. Also be prepared to have coins, because using the restroom will cost you usually between 20 pence and £2, depending on which part of the city you're in. So, you might need to carry your coin purse like this, which I know is not manly, and it gets very heavy, believe me. And these big British pound coins here, it's one of the best ways to get rid of them, is just using the bathroom. If you want to find a free WC or restroom or loo, look for museums or major hotels. In the lobby area, there's almost always going to be a restroom for patrons. Just walk in and act like you're a guest, and it shouldn't be a problem. Number 8 is hotel. Pick a hotel that is within zone 1 or 2 of downtown London, even if it is more expensive. The reason why is because you do not want to waste any time getting back and forth from the sites. Don't do that to yourself. The last thing you want to do at the end of a tiring sightseeing day is travel an hour outside the city to your cheap hotel. It's not worth it. You can always make more money, but you cannot buy more time. Be aware that most hotels do not have elevators, so I hope you pack lightly. Get some hotel business cards like this. It should have the hotel's address on it. In case you and/or your travel companions get lost or separated, all you would have to do is hail a taxi cab, jump in, give them the business card with the address, and they will take you home safely. Number 9 is transportation. In London, the subway is called the Tube or the Underground. I recommend studying the map online first so you're better familiar with it, and you'll find it a lot less confusing if you know what it looks like before you go. Now the way it works is you'll want to buy an Oyster card such as this one. It costs £5 and you can get that £5 back if you want to return it to a subway attendant before you leave. I just hold on to it because I go back to London all the time. The card itself is £5, as I said, and you load it up with money at any computer kiosk that you can find at the airport or at subway stations throughout the city. Each ride will cost you about £2 Transfers are free, and the alternative would be the one-day travel card, which is £12 per person per day. The hop-on, hop-off bus tours that tourists love are also very pricey and not a good value in my opinion. There are €30 per person per day, and those buses stop running at about 7 p.m. as opposed to the public transportation system, which stops running at about 2 a.m. So that's a much better value right here. Number 10 is food. Don't worry, all the food that you're accustomed to in the United States, you'll probably find in London. It's a major city. The stereotype about British food being awful is a myth. You will find world-class restaurants throughout the city. If you want to order something to go, by the way, you need to ask for takeaway, not to go, because that's what they call it there. If you want to save some money, don't be surprised if they charge you extra for ketchup packets or drink refills, or if there's an extra fee to dine in as opposed to ordering something for takeaway. Grocery stores like Sainsbury's are fantastic for saving money. Also, if your hotel has a breakfast buffet in the morning, take advantage of that. I like to eat a huge breakfast and just go straight into sightseeing, stopping only for little snacks and an early dinner. Number 11 is admission fees. Whenever you travel, this is going to be a major expense. But the good news is that London has tons of free, awesome things to see. The National Gallery, the Tate Museums, the British Library, the British Museum, the Victoria and Albert Museum, and lots of public outdoor spaces like Covent Garden, Hyde Park, Leicester Square. If you want to pay for certain things like the Tower of London or Westminster Abbey, those will run you about £20 per person. Number 12 is shopping. Caveat emptor, or buyer beware. Most stores do not offer refunds or returns. Satisfaction is not guaranteed, guys. Number 13 is walking. Even with all the public transportation available in London, chances are you're not accustomed to all the walking you're gonna do while you're there. If you're like most Americans, you're used to driving everywhere, even to the mailbox, so you may not be prepared for London. I recommend upping your cardio workouts or starting your cardio workout of just walking around your neighborhood or your immediate area about 10 minutes a day, let's say, for a few days or weeks leading up to the trip, just so that you are more physically prepared for the amount of walking you're going to do when you're in Europe and or London. Number 14 is the changing of the guard. At 11 a.m., every tourist in the city converges on one spot for one moment to see one thing, and that is the changing of the guard ceremony at Buckingham Palace. To secure the best spot, I recommend getting there no later than 10:20 a.m. for a spot along the front fence or the elevated circular Victoria Memorial further back. Those are the best possible spots, in my opinion, for videos and photos.
Through the bars, right? You can do that. Or number 2, option 2, you can position yourself on the Victoria Monument, or is it Memorial? Right there, right? See, you can get a higher vantage point. You're allowed to climb up the sculpture, you know, and yeah, hold up your kid or whatever, you know, and then take pictures that way. Especially when they come in and out of these doors, you know. Yeah. Oh, in fact, look at this. They're nice enough to put a little sign here as to the specifics of I see 11:30 a.m. and when it rains a lot, they cancel. You can see that, obviously. Yeah.
And that concludes part 1 of London travel tips. Part 2 is coming up next. If this video is helpful to you guys in any way, please leave me a comment and subscribe. Show me some love. I am grateful. Remember to enjoy your life. It's the only one you have.